Hey guys, my name's Justin and welcome to Hellsborough, where we care about the design behind designer luxury. And if you care too, make sure you subscribe. There, I think I'm right this time. For today's video, I have another Battle Royale. So if you're new here, a Battle Royale is basically like March Madness. It's brackets where, in this case, we pit 8 different things. For today, it's going to be bags, against each other, one-on-one, until we get down to whichever one is on top. And I like to talk about like the design, the craftsmanship, history. I like taking all of those things into account. It's fun, and I wanted to do one on puffy bags because puffy bags has been a trend that has been going on for, I think, quite a while, honestly, but it doesn't seem to be slowing down. And there's been even more brands putting out their versions of puffy bags, and I thought I would take a look at them and just, I don't know, talk it through, and hopefully if you're interested in any of the bags, maybe it'll make some decisions for you. For today's lineup, we have the Bottega Veneta padded cassette, the Coach pillow tabby, the Margiela Glam Slam, the Prada padded Nappa leather handbag, the LV Coussin, the JW Anderson bumper Baguette, the Chanel 19, and the Loewe puffy Flamenco. Alright, round 1.
Round 1, Match 1.
Bottega Veneta padded cassette
Versus
Coach pillow tabby.
Fight.
So the Bottega Veneta padded cassette, so the version I'm talking about is going to be the bonded lambskin one, so it's a little bit more smooth of a leather. It still is unlined, and it's basically like a crossbody bag if you're looking at the normal one with just the strap. There is also a version of it with a like chain crossbody strap, and that one actually has a top handle, which love any bag that has multiple ways to carry it besides just like a clutch and a strap. That one has been really popular recently. Even now, not all of the colors and all of the versions of it are available. I think they're still kind of hard to get, and it is actually like a pretty pricey bag, but it is beautiful. And then we have the Coach pillow tabby, which actually I think was one of the earliest bags to get on the trend, which is a little surprising because when we see these like contemporary level brands, typically they like diffuse based on what like these like more premier brands do, but I think they were actually pretty early on, which I think is pretty impressive. But it is a basic baguette shape. It has a flap, it has a handle, crossbody strap, aged brass hardware, and then like an enameled or like a leather covered C logo on that flap. So while I do give credit to Coach for basically being one of the first brands to be a part of the trend, I think they're one of the reasons why it took off so well. For me, I think the Bottega Veneta bag is so much more interesting. It's an unlined bag, so like you can actually like stick your finger through the weave of the Interaccio weave. It's kind of like a normal bag that they like puffed up versus a bag that like flipped house codes and did something interesting. So I think for this first match, it's going to go to the Bottega Veneta padded cassette.
Winner.
Bottega Veneta padded cassette.
Round 1, Match 2.
Margiela Glam Slam
Versus
Prada padded Nappa leather handbag.
Fight.
Alright, so for the second matchup, we have the Margiela Glam Slam. So this is a bag that was designed by Galliano when he, I think, more recently joined the house. Okay, so for me, it looks like a Chesterfield sofa. Those kind of like tufted sofas with like those thick buttons. So it feels very like luxurious, and it looks very like fluffy and soft. And actually, this bag predates the trend. I don't know how much you could say it influenced the trend, but it for sure came out, I think it was like 2018, and I think the trend really caught hold in like 2019. I don't know, maybe the facts aren't right, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but it does predate the rest of those bags that are on this list. There is another bag that I think even predates that, and that's the Chanel Cocoon bag, and that was designed by Karl Lagerfeld, I think in 2016. But that one is like a very puffy, like people call it a sleeping bag, things like that. Because that is a vintage bag, it's not sold anymore, I'm not including it here. And that is versus the Prada padded Nappa leather Handbag? I think that's the name. I don't know. Prada does this funny thing where like they don't like name their bags typically. It's just kind of like, this is what it is, which I digress. So this bag is a triangular shape similar to the logo. Like it has a little top handle and then it also has a strap that you can do crossbody or shoulder, of course. I think one of the interesting things is that it does actually have a triangular faced opening because it's shaped like a triangle. But the zipper kind of starts from the middle, so you can open it up both ways to really open it, or just open up one side and maybe like, I don't know, wiggle your fingers in there. But I would have to say, when you're comparing the Glam Slam versus the padded Prada, I do acknowledge that the Glam Slam, because it kind of predates the trend, there must be like some sort of influence. But then when you're looking at the Prada padded Nappa leather handbag, for me, the shape of it just makes it far more interesting. I understand that you're recontextualizing like a Chesterfield sofa into like a handbag, something that's seen as kind of like tired, dusty, traditional, and making it into something like fashion and fun and young. But I don't know, the fact that we're seeing a triangle shaped bag again, but coming from a house whose logo is shaped like a triangle, there's something about it that's just like a little bit more interesting to me. So that's gonna have to be the winner. The
Winner.
Prada padded Nappa leather handbag.
Round 1, match 3.
Louis Vuitton Coussin
Versus
JW Anderson bumper baguette.
Fight.
So the LV Coussin is, I don't know how to exactly describe it. To me, it basically looks like if you took a couple of pouches and like smushed them together and like used like a bike pump to like and like it like puffed around the monogram. So that is the bag to me, and then with the zipper on top. But then it also has like a strap, or I think I've also seen a chain handle as well. And it is this a simple rectangular shape, really showcasing the house's monogram. And then we have the bumper baguette. Again, we're seeing like that baguette shape, kind of like a shoulder bag where it is pretty rectangular. While the whole bag does look like it has like a bit of puff to it, the standout detail here is there is this tubular like edging that makes it, I mean, it's called the bumper bag, so immediately I'm thinking of like bumper cars, like State Fair for some reason, like bounce houses, things like that, because it has that kind of like shape to it. It is a simple bag where there's just the zipper on top and then the internal part of it, and it just has like a normal strap, and it does come in some interesting colorways. The thing is, for me, when we're comparing these two kinds of bags, surface level, they seem like very similar. Honestly, the Coussin has like a little bit more functionality because it has a strap, and then it also has like a short strap, which you can use kind of like as a top handle, I think. But when you're talking about the actual structure of a bag and you talk about the Louis Vuitton, it just is so basic. Like, it's almost like they took like the idea of like the multi-pochette and just scaled up that front pouch and just stuck it together to make it kind of like this like double pouch, and then just inflated it. Which like, I wouldn't say is unattractive, I actually do like it. But then I haven't seen a puffy bag do what the JW Anderson bumper bag has done. I think that kind of detail, for me, pushes it over the Coussin. So for me, it's the bumper bag.
Winner.
JW Anderson bumper baguette.
Round 1, match 4.
Chanel 19
Versus
Loewe Puffy Flamenco.
Fight.
So the Chanel 19, for me, I think it's so interesting because, of course, it is puffy because it's on the list, but it like exaggerates the features of like the classic flap in more ways than one. Of course, it exaggerates the quilting by like puffing it up. It exaggerates the logo by turning it from just a solid CC logo into this like chain logo, which not my favorite. It also exaggerates the chain strap and handle by like using mixed metals. I think typically it's going to be ruthenium, palladium, and like the aged brass or something like that, or it's like an aged gold or a gold or something like that. And it is the last bag that Karl Lagerfeld designed with Chanel before he unfortunately passed. The Puffy Flamenco isn't technically released yet, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about it because there are some like pretty clear images. To me, this bag kind of looks like a cartoon bag of money because it has this like exaggerated like shape and I do know that the classic flamenco does come with a strap. I'm not sure if this one does, but I would be surprised if it didn't. But it does look like a really supple clutch, and I do know that Loewe leathers are just amazing. They're beautiful. So I would be surprised if this one didn't have like buttery smooth leather. When we're talking about the two against each other, it's so interesting comparing the Chanel 19, where it's taking the house codes and like kind of amplifying them, but it is also like it's taking all of the house codes and amplifying them. Meanwhile, we have the Flamenco, which that is quite a simple bag, and then taking the whole thing and amplifying that. I think the balance here is, for me, the Chanel 19 is starting to like do a little too much. And I know like the Flamenco puffy bag isn't out yet, but for me, like that balance of like normal with like the exaggeration of the puff is a little bit more, I think it just makes more sense in that one than the Chanel 19 for me. I think it's a very pretty bag, and I love Karl Lagerfeld, but for me, it just, that one just kind of falls flat compared to some of the other bags that Karl's done. And then, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to the Loewe Flamenco puffy bag.
Winner.
Loewe Puffy Flamenco. So that was already the end of the first round. For the second round, we have the Bottega Veneta padded cassette versus the Prada padded Nappa leather handbag, and then the J.W. Anderson bumper baguette versus the Loewe Puffy Flamenco.
Semi-final. Match 1.
Bottega Veneta padded cassette
Versus.
Prada padded Nappa leather handbag.
Fight.
When we're talking about both of these bags, both the padded cassette and the padded Nappa leather, I'm just gonna call it the triangle bag because I'm gonna be talking about it, right? So let's make this easier on myself. The padded cassette versus the triangle bag from Prada, there's quite a lot of similarities. They're both from decently recent additions to the creative director role. Daniel Lee in Bottega Veneta took the like house codes of like the Intraccio and using like fine and high quality leathers and amplifying it up to like 11, and then Raf Simons joined as the co-creative director for Prada. What he did was like actually like using the logo and the monogram and taking it beyond the house code and kind of like, I hate to say it like this, but like modernizing it in that he's like playing into like the logomania type thing, but still like he's taking these like house codes and like flipping them. I think that's a really interesting way to compare the work that they've both been doing. It's kind of hard to say now that Daniel Lee is already out of Bottega Veneta. But when you take a look at the detail of the Prada bag, I love the shape of it, and I think the way that it opens and it functions, and it's such a versatile bag, I do find that so interesting. But then you compare it to the Bottega Veneta bag, and I think there's a certain level of craftsmanship and a level of detail that is, I think, just a level above what the padded triangle bag did. Also, like, the fact that you can get the padded cassette with, like, a chunky chain, like, there's a version that has that. It adds the versatility, and then the chunky chain is just kind of fun. Like, it is heavy, but, like, also it's definitely a statement bag, and I think that's, for me, it has to go to the Bottega padded cassette.
Winner.
Bottega Veneta padded cassette.
Semi-final. Match 2.
J.W. Anderson bumper baguette
Versus.
Loewe Puffy Flamenco.
Fight.
Okay, so now comparing these two bags is something kind of interesting. So they're actually both designed by Jonathan Anderson. I love you, Jonathan. The bumper bag, it is a cute bag, and actually it has like shoes that match, and I think like if you were to like combine them, that would help gear up towards a top tier look. Just saying. But then you look at the flamenco in the puffy version. The flamenco is from the 70s, so it is a house staple for Loewe. But then you can kind of compare it to the 19, where like you take this like icon of the house and you just take a bike pump and you're just like, you're taking like a bit of history in a way, and you're it's not that it's disrespecting it, but it's like, it's being more irreverent to it. And I think that's something that's so charming when it's done right. And I think definitely the Puffy Flamenco does that. He recognized that the Flamenco is a pretty simple bag. So for him to kind of like poke fun at it and kind of exaggerate it, I think works very well. Oh my god. As I'm saying this, I realize fully, like, it absolutely, the Puffy Flamenco, the winner here.
Winner.
Loewe Puffy Flamenco. Oh my god, we're at the finals already.
Final.
Bottega Veneta padded cassette
Versus.
Loewe Puffy Flamenco.
Fight.
So I think something that's been kind of like a central theme of this Battle Royale, honestly, has been taking the house codes or taking something familiar and just amplifying it. And that's kind of interesting because when you take a house code, you can go kind of in two ways when you're making a change to it, right? With the Puffy Flamenco, I mean, it's like 50-ish years old, so it's like historical enough for me, I guess. And what Jonathan Anderson did was just kind of like pump it up and like make it bigger and more fun. So while that is something that we definitely should acknowledge, I think that's when we need to take a look on the other side. So instead of like taking the existing and like just amplifying it, what Daniel Lee did for the padded cassette is he took the house codes and he kind of took them apart. He took a brand that, for me, honestly, before him, that brand was like, like, it was not the brand. It was kind of relegated to kind of like country clubs and outlet malls. When he invigorated this brand and really like broke down what it meant to see something as Bottega Veneta, he was able to like put the pieces back together in such an interesting way. When I was talking earlier, this is like a very like irreverent way to do it, right? Like you are aware and you do respect it, but then you have the courage and the bravery to kind of like twist it together into something sometimes even like a bit unrecognizable in ways, and really make something exciting and fresh and fun. Like he really helped age down the brand and made it a bit more of a general audience. Yeah, we're talking about the bag in specific, but I would say that a huge ton of it is because of that bag, the brand kind of was saved. So for me, I don't know why I'm even talking anymore. I guess for me, it definitely goes to the Bottega Veneta padded cassette.
Champion.
Bottega Veneta padded cassette. I'm not like surprised by that result. There is definitely like a certain amount of awareness I have when it comes to what Daniel Lee has done for that brand. But like, I don't know, like I do find the bag attractive, and I like, if I were to ever get one like given to me, I would absolutely like love it and cherish it, but it's not like my #1 bag. I don't know, I just think it's so interesting how I went with that bag, especially because like I returned a bag that was based on that one just not too long ago. But yeah, let me know if if that's the bag that you think deserved to win. Do you think there was another bag that should have been on this list to compete? Let me know if you also think I'm wrong. I love to hear what you guys have to say. That's all I have for you today. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It lets me know that you like this kind of content and that you too care about the design behind designer luxury. Until next time, it's padded. Puffy. I'm sweating.